Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler and today we're talking about Dungeons & Dragons 5e and we're talking about monster tactics. This is the Tyrannosaurus Rex and oh my gosh, I've been waiting so long to do the Tyrannosaurus Rex, its own dedicated video. Now for the Tyrannosaurus Rex stat block you need to turn to page 80 of the monster manual. There is a small paragraph that describes how the T-Rex or Tyrannosaurus Rex actually operates and essentially sort of what it might be like if you had to deal with it. And I'm going to go over that very briefly and then I want to give you my 2 cents worth on top of that, because there's a bit of research and a bit of theory that's floating around about how the Tyrannosaurus Rex used to hunt and operate, and I want to talk about that as well. So this is an enormous predator creature. It's supposed to terrorize other creatures in its territory, and its territory can be quite large. Despite its size and weight, the T-Rex or Tyrannosaurus Rex is supposed to be quite swift, a swift runner. Now, it's 50 feet, but during its own time, when the T-Rex was actually alive in real life, not in Dungeons and Dragons, a lot of its prey actually could run faster than it could. So it doesn't mean that it would necessarily be able to run down another creature in its own time frame, but you don't have to run down a creature that's running 50 feet or have a speed of 50 feet. Most of the player characters, they got 30, 25, maybe 35, somewhere in that range. So it's going to be a lot easier. Now it says here that it chases down its food to eat it. Well, yes, it might do that, and that's one option, but there are other ways you can deal with that. It also talks about it subsisting or eating carrion, which is absolutely correct. It would eat carrion, and smaller creatures that are either trying to dart in and out and eat or take morsels from the carrion that it's feeding on, or creatures that are a lot slower than it, as we've just discussed. So here is what I think you should do with your T-Rex or Tyrannosaurus Rex. The first thing is, this is an apex predator in its own environment, but it's a scavenger. There's a lot of research that says no, it was an apex predator and it hunted. And then other people are saying no, it's a scavenger. It really couldn't hunt because what it was trying to chase down was simply too fast or just too capable of picking up its scent. It's not like a T-Rex can be very stealthy. It's reasonably fast, but how do you hide yourself if you are a T-Rex? You're quite large, okay? Very, very big creature, so hiding is almost impossible. So scavenging or being an apex predator. Now, due to the T-Rex's size, as I said, sneaking up on prey is almost impossible. And what does that mean? Does that mean that it would align itself with another T-Rex to hunt? Would it be a solo creature, a solo hunter, or a solo scavenger? Or would it scavenge and hunt in a group? Now, I'm not talking about a large group. I'm actually talking about maybe in pairs, male and female, feeding and hunting for its young. That's what I'm talking about. Now, the T-Rex has a highly developed sense of smell. And based on the fact that it has a really good sense of smell, it also has the ability to detect movement quite easily. Its vision is set up for that. And also binocular vision. Now, binocular vision means it can see things a long way off, which means it should be a reasonably effective tracker and able to search out prey. Now, all of this is based on what I've seen on the internet and by reading, and it's all based on research, and most of this is obviously based on theory, okay, because it's not like we have a T-Rex we can actually inspect and see how they operate. Although you might think the dinosaur is a solo hunter or a solo scavenger, I would like you to consider using 2 rather than 1. And if you're just going to use 1, then give yourself a situation where it would make sense, or if your party just can't deal with 2 T-Rexes, then that's fine too. But certainly you can open that up as an option working with 2 T-Rexes rather than 1. Now the beast has multi-attack, so it can run into a group of prey and then it gets to make 2 attacks, one with its bite and one with its tail. And the stat block actually states you can't make both attacks against the same target. Well, there's no fun in that. I think you should definitely change that, but we'll talk about that very shortly. The T-Rex is more likely to feed on carrion. I think when you have your players encounter a T-Rex, have them come across the T-Rex feeding on carrion or a dead animal, or hunting, or fighting, or in the process of trying to kill an injured creature. An injured creature would move slower, or hunting and trying to feed off a slower beast. I would open up with the tail attack first and then use your bite. Now, as I said, it states you have to hit 2 different targets, which of course is no fun. The bite attack causes more damage than the tail attack, but what's really good about it is you get to grapple the creature if you're successful in its teeth, and it's going to be restrained, but it can't apparently bite another target or another creature, which is a little bit of a bummer, but you still have that tail for swinging around and just making life difficult for somebody else. So once a T-Rex has lunch in its mouth, it would just chomp on it and feed. But if it has multiple enemies to deal with, and it's more likely to simply grab its lunch and run off and leave the party to do their own thing. It can outrun them. It's got 50 feet. The only thing it might have to deal with is missile fire. So I would grab your lunch, take off, and then devour it at your leisure at some other location. The T-Rex is a very aggressive creature, but it still knows better than to fight to the death. It's not the sort of creature that would just keep going at it. Now I know you're thinking, well, yeah, but it's got an intelligence of 2 and a wisdom of 12. It's the wisdom of 12 that's more important. So what I want you to do is focus on the fact that being a very aggressive creature, it would certainly go after another creature that's smaller than it, and also probably creatures that are about the same size. It has got lots of big scary teeth, so it's capable of doing that. What I would suggest to you though, as I said, is take some DM liberties with a T-Rex, allow the tail attack to knock the creature prone if it hits the target with the tail, and then follow up with the bite on the same target so you get advantage on the prone character or target or creature. And yeah, like I said, allow both attacks to hit the same target. Also allow crushing damage each round with a bite attack. You might not be able to bite onto a different target, but allow the creature to at least continue to try and chew its meal. That's how I would run my T-Rex. So what I want to do is I want to give you a basic scene that I've laid out to sort of demonstrate everything that I've been talking about, just so it's really, really clear about how you should use your T-Rex, or at least, a lot of these videos are more about just providing you with options rather than telling you this is how it has to be and no other way is going to work. Okay, so my scene should be popping up very, very shortly, and what I want to do is just demonstrate sort of what would happen. So you have your T-Rex over here. The group would probably see it from a distance, so it's going to get hit by missile fire. So try to use as much cover as you possibly can to get in close. But it's not the missile fire you need to worry about. What you're trying to do is drive them towards this direction, over to the other side of the map. And the reason you're doing that is you're having your T-Rex hunting as a pack and waiting on the other side of the map where you may not be able to see because I've got it out of some screen. Behind some bushes that are nice and tall or some trees is another T-Rex waiting to devour them. And all they need to do is continue down the road, and this thing is waiting, and it will pop round out of the bushes and have a meal. So even if they engage in combat, all you're trying to do is take one of the characters, get them in the mouth and run off with them. Okay? And then you just eat them. But you're trying to drive them down the road, away from the T-Rex, particularly if it seems like it's a challenge that they can't deal with. And it's not the first T-Rex they need to worry about, it's the one waiting around the corner as they flee down the road, down this way, that is going to cause them the problems. Now they've got one in front, one behind, their options are reduced, now they've got to decide to go, they've got two more directions, and try to give yourself like a box canyon of some kind, or no way to sort of divert off to the side. It's going to still be much more difficult to outrun two T-Rexes than one. And small creatures that are small characters that only run, well, have a speed of 20-25 feet are probably not going to get away. They're probably going to get eaten and bitten. Okay. All right. So when it comes to targeting something, I would imagine that these guys would bug out to the side, and the poor old gnome, who's probably a lot slower, is going to find itself in the clutches of a T-Rex. Now, the great thing about the T-Rex is there's a reasonable amount of reach. Okay, you've got 10-foot reach, so you don't need to be within 5 foot to actually be effective, and that's with the tail and the bite. So hit it with the tail, swing that baby around, show it your backside. Once you've hit it, knocked it prone, it's time to try and bite it, get it in there, and then take off with that little bugger, and let the rest of the party try to figure out what they're going to do next. That's how I would run my T-Rex. Okay, that's probably more sensible. Okay, I think that covers everything I wanted to talk about in terms of the T-Rex. I just wanted to give you sort of an example very briefly. If you found this video helpful or even informative in any way, please hit the like button. If you think this would be useful to somebody else, then share the video on Twitter or Facebook or something like that so that other people know about it. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, then how about subscribing to my channel, because I do more videos like this, lots of stuff for Dungeon Masters, lots of stuff for players, and I also do quite unusual videos. I don't always necessarily do exactly the same sort of thing that you see on a lot of other channels. There's so many choices that you have. You could go to a gazillion different Dungeons and Dragons channels now. I am perfectly aware of that. So content needs to be diverse, and it also needs to be something that somebody else hasn't done. And I'm hoping that this is filling that gap. Now, when it comes to hitting the subscribe button, there's also a bell button beside it. So hit the bell button. That lets you know when I do a new live video. It will notify you. And when I publish a new video, sometimes I do some pre-recorded stuff. If you want to support my channel, watch more of my videos, really helpful. And thank you to everybody who's been watching my stuff. It's really, really great. It's awesome. Thank you very much. I don't do Patreon, but down in the description, you know about those affiliate links, right? You buy stuff online, I get a small commission, really helpful to me. You pay exactly the same price, and you don't even have to buy the thing that it's linked to, which is great. Now, if you want to ask questions, now is the time. I see that a couple of people have already started putting in comments, and we're going to get to those in just a second. Otherwise, if you're not part of the live stream, then down in the comments section, after the live stream goes public, you can put in any comments, any feedback. Did I get it wrong? Have you got any questions? Have you run the T-Rex before? What was your experience? Yeah, just what did you get out of that? And if I didn't deliver what you wanted in the video in terms of monster tactics for the T-Rex, what did I need to deliver? Let me know. Make it abundantly clear. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. One of those will do very nicely. Thank you very much.